Hey guys, what's going on? I'm the Rating Snail Scarlight Squad, and yes, this is actually a Yu-Gi-Oh video. Now, I know I've been making some Pokemon videos as of late, but I still make Yu-Gi-Oh content, and that's what I'm here to do today. I want to talk about today 5 decks that I've wanted to play, decks that I've wanted to play either from the beginning of time, or decks right up until this video is being published, that I wanted to build, I wanted to create, but just couldn't have something come to fruition, just didn't have the time or the budget, or just didn't really get around to it. So with that, let's get to it. Now this isn't going to be a top 5 video or just of, you know, what's better than the rest. This is just a list. And the first one is the appliancers. These were low-level monsters that you could move in the zones, the main monster zones, and they would get special abilities based on if they were connected to their respective link monsters. And what was cool was with most of their link monsters, when they battle, you can move them into different zones and you'd get even more special abilities. I thought this was a really cool mechanic. I'm not a huge fan, however, of the whole zoning in general, but it's interesting. It seemed to work. It was a very budget-friendly deck, but just didn't get to it. Number 2 on this list is the Evil Eye archetype. Now I thought this was really cool because you had this equip spell, Evil Eye of Selene, that would give the equipped monster tremendous powers. It was a really cool card and a really cool concept of how the deck was mainly to search for this card, get it onto the field, get it equipped to a monster, and just play. Now, there were downsides with the card. Sometimes it would cost you life, and other times it was hard to recycle. But overall, it was a really cool concept in my opinion. I like that it was kind of a antagonist or more villain archetype. We don't really see those too much. And it was just something that was a little different. A lot of decks do focus around one card, but we don't really see too much with equips. And just for one card to be played on both sides of the game, I thought was interesting. Now, so far these past 2 decks or themes have been pretty similar, and number 3 isn't too much of an exception. It's funny though, because as this list goes on and on, we go further back along the Yu-Gi-Oh timeline. So with that, number 3 is the Dreamears. And with the Dreamears, these were monsters that were both light and dark attributes, and you would bring out one to the field, and then if you had their field spell out, you could bring their counterpart. So if you had the Dreamear of Joy, I want to say, on the field, and a light monster, you could get out the Dreamear of Terror, the darker counterpart, and then the Dreamer monster that was also dark, or vice versa. And it was really cool because you could give both field spells to your opponent, or you could swap out your field spells during, I want to say, both players' end phases. It was a really cool concept. I don't think the deck just did really well overall. The deck just kind of played this back and forth, and if you didn't have the first part set up, you definitely weren't going to have the second. Coming in at the 4th spot is a theme I think everybody loves, and that is Skull Servants. I've always loved these guys, just never really got to them. Hopefully I could one day. What is awesome about this theme is that every couple of years or so, it does get some support, most recently with White Baking. It's a really cool card. It gives good searchability and just good tie-ins to the White or Skull Servant overall. Hopefully I can play it in the future. We'll see. I'm not a huge fan of zombies. The other guy who's on the channel, Joel's a lot, he absolutely loves them, so maybe he'll play them one day. And of course, the final deck on this list, or the final archetype, is the ships, or, well, maybe I should say the BES archetype. Now these ships, also like Gradius and Victory Viper, they were all, I think, from a really old NES video game, way back. And the video game was really cool. I played it a little bit, but I thought the deck was really cool using these spaceships that would get on the field, and they were pretty much indestructible. They would have these counters on them, and then after they battled, you would remove the counter, and if there's no counters, then they blow up. What was really awesome about this archetype is that they got 2 new machines recently, or within the past couple of years, that were actually pretty decent. And the best part about those machines is that they work pretty well with recycling your ships and providing protection. Now, the number one reason why I still might play this deck and build it one day out of all 5, or out of all the rest 4, is that their field spell is phenomenal. I think it's probably maybe one of the best field spells made of all time, just depends on how you look at it, but Bee of Zelos provides a free way to get out a monster. It gives a free counter. It lets you search boss rush. I mean, it does a lot. And I think there's 1 or 2 more things I'm forgetting at this time that I'm recording this. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much going to do it. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. These are just decks that I just never got around to, or might never get around to. But who knows? Maybe I'll build them someday. I'm the Ring Snail of the Scarlight Squad. Thank you so much for watching.